Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So good evening everyone, Hare Krishna. So tonight we will read from the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 84, the sages' teachings at Kurukshetra, and text number 11. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'll just chant the Sanskrit and then we'll read the translation and purport. Nahyam mayani tirtani na deva mrijchila maya te punat yuru kalena darshanat eva sadavaha. Translation. Mere bodies of water are not. So this is Krishna speaking, by the way. just if anybody wanted to know who was speaking, it's Krishna speaking. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mere bodies of water are not the real sacred places of pilgrimage. nor are mere images of earth and stone the true worshipable deities. These purify only after a long time. But saintly sages purify one immediately upon being seen. Purport. Because the personality of God, it is absolute, the Supreme Spirit, any representation of Him, whether manifested in stone, paint, sound, or any other authorized medium, is non-different from His original form in the topmost spiritual planet Goloka Vrindavan. But ordinary demigods are not absolute, being infinitesimal spirit souls, and thus representations of the demigods are not identical with them. Interesting point. Worship of demigods or ritual bathing in a sanctified place gives only limited benefit to those who lack transcendental faith in the Supreme Lord. On the other hand, great Vaishnava saints like Vyasadeva, Narada, and the four Kumaras are always absorbed in Krishna consciousness, and thus they are veritable moving tirthas, places of pilgrimage. Even a moment's association with them, especially by hearing their glorification of the Lord, can deliver one from all material entanglement, as King Yudhishthira said to Vidura, Bhavad vida bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirti kurvanti tirtani swanta stena gadabrata. So that's from the Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 10. And the translation is, My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. Okay. Om Gyanatipadandasya Gananjana Shvakaya Chakshulan Maditam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karirvachalam Pungam Gayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shigurun Diditarinam Vancha Kapadribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So read the translation again. Mere bodies of water are not the real sacred places of pilgrimage, nor are mere images of earth and stone the true worshipable deities. These purify only after a long time. But saintly sages purify one immediately upon being seen. So everyone in this material world is interested in progressing towards something. And even if you just analyze it from a very basic point of view, or, very basic point of view, even if someone doesn't have very high aspirations, they at least, generally speaking, have the aspiration to maintain their body. It means to eat something, to drink something, to sleep, something like that. And all the humans, what is it now, 7 billion? 7 billion, about 7 billion. It's fluctuating a little bit, but 7 billion, about 7 billion people, they're all trying to progress towards something. Basing, eating, sleeping, and other aspirations, many other aspirations people have. And the lower species also, they're trying to progress towards something. There's many fish in the sea right now swimming around. And they're trying to progress towards their next meal, right? Trying to eat another fish or something like that. So the question is, okay, well, what is what people think, generally think of progress? Is it actual progress? And Srila Prabhupada would say that, oh yes, you may be progressing, but the moth is also progressing. The moth is progressing towards the flame, right? It's moving towards the flame. So is it really progress? And I was listening to an interview recently Srila Prabhupada was having with some reporter in Los Angeles, and Srila Prabhupada, he was saying that, yeah, modern civilization's actually failed. There's so much progress, there's so much, in many ways, material progress, but still, Srila Prabhupada was making the point, quite some years ago, well, not so long, but maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago. He was saying that still people are dissatisfied. Still people are unhappy. There's a large percentage of people who are still dissatisfied. And I was listening to that, and I was thinking, it was true then, and it's just as true now. It's just as true. So yeah, are people really progressing? So from the perspective of the Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which it says this Bhagavatam is the book that will give light, will give illumination within this age of Kali, within this age we're in now, to us, by illuminating our lives with knowledge and devotion and so many other wonderful things that the Bhagavatam gives. The perspective of the Bhagavatam says that progress means purification, means purification of our lives, purifications of our consciousness. And the example is given, Srila Prabhupada's given the example of rainfall. So rain falls, it's pure, and then it hits the ground, it becomes muddy. It needs to be purified again, and if you want to drink it. So similarly, our consciousness in contact with material nature becomes muddied. And muddied means there's so many things within our consciousness that are just unnecessary, that just don't really belong there. So whether it's selfishness, material selfishness, or anger, or greed, or so many other things that may be within our consciousness that don't really belong there. So that's what it means, muddied. So purification means getting free from all that, and most importantly, real purification means, or the ultimate end of purification is developing our love for Krishna. So we're not just into living pure lives in and of themselves, but we're into living a pure life with the aim of developing pure love for Krishna. At least that's the idea we want to strive for. So here in this particular verse, it's saying that mere bodies of water are not the real sacred place of pilgrimage. So within India, there's so many rivers, and practically maybe all of them are considered sacred. All the rivers I've heard in India are considered sacred. Because either Krishna has been there and sported there in the river, or bathed in the river, swam in the river, or some great Vaishnava, some great devotee has bathed in the river there. So the river is sacred because of their contacting it. There's the Saraswati, there's the Yamuna, there's the Ganga, there's the Godavari, there's so many others, rivers. So, but here it's saying that mere bodies of water are not the real sacred place of pilgrimage, and they purify only after a long time, but saintly sages purify one immediately upon being seen. So, later in this particular chapter, in the next 2 verses, Krishna is continuing to speak, and he says that one who considers himself to be the body, and which is composed of all types of material elements, and they consider the land in which they're born to be worshipable. They're too much nationalistic. And when going to holy places, they merely just bathe in the rivers, but they do not connect themselves. They do not listen to, they do not associate with saintly persons. Krishna says they're no better than, what's the word? Gokara, yeah, Gokara. Yeah, that's the word, right? Gokara. I'm just, oh, okay, let's see here. Yeah, go, cow, kara, or ass, or donkey. That's what Krishna says. You're no better than a cow or donkey. So in other words, he's saying that it's intelligent. To think that we're the physical body is unintelligent. Did I say intelligent? I hope not. Unintelligent. You have to cut me a little slack here. I just arrived from India just a few days ago, so. So he's saying it is unintelligent to consider oneself the body, because the body is dead matter and the soul is animating the body. So the body's like a vehicle, and the soul's the driver. The soul's animating the body. As soon as the driver, the soul, leaves the body's it's dead. Everybody could see that. So, and to go to nationalistic. Nationalistic, is that a word? Anyways, it sounds good, right? I hope. Anyways, so I was in. Anyways, we'll get to that later about nationalism. So yeah, again, within India, there's so many holy places, and alongside those holy places are holy rivers. So yes, when we go to these holy places, of course, we should bathe in those holy rivers. It's not the verse. Krishna's not saying you shouldn't. You should. And in this particular verse we read today, the first verse, the idea is that it's not that the verse or Krishna is, the verse that Krishna is speaking, encourages not to bathe in the river, the sacred river, because it is purifying and it is special. But if one only goes to do that and they don't associate with the devotees, then it doesn't produce the full effect. It doesn't produce the full effect that we're trying to, that we need, and that is full spiritualization. So yeah, as Rajendranandana Prabhu mentioned, myself and Mukunda Charana, we were gone for about a month, so we just got back a few days ago. And in case any of you were wondering, by any chance, we went to a few places in India. We felt like a pinball, but anyways, kind of going around like this, but still very inspiring, the places we visited and the devotees we met. But we went to Mayapur, and we bathed in the Ganga every day. And we went to Vrindavan, and we went to Mumbai, and we did a surprise, means an unexpected visit to Pune, which is about 6 hours away from Mumbai. And then we went to Hong Kong, and then we went to mainland China for a few days. So, and how was it? Yeah, it was wonderful. And one of the reasons it was wonderful, because in each one of those places, there were so many devotees. There were so many Vaishnavis, so many bright devotees who really enlivened the atmosphere, brought things to life. So yeah, this is an interesting place because, this is an interesting point because people have a concept of a holy place, even within other traditions as well. Followers of Islam, followers of Christianity, followers of Buddhism, harekrishna people, Mormon people. All of these different religious or spiritual persons, they have a concept of what is a holy place. I'm not sure what the holy place for Mormon or Latter-day Saints is, Mormons, it's probably the place where Joseph Smith found those tablets, anyways, if anybody's familiar, but it's another discussion. So within Gaudiya Vaishnavism, these places, specifically Mayapur and the place of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he advented, where he appeared and performed some pastimes there, activities. Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna himself, come again 500 years ago. This is a very special place for Vaishnavas. So we went there, and then Vrindavan, which is a place Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. So, yeah, the question is, what makes a holy place a holy place? And there's many different things that make a holy place a holy place. So one of them, again, is that Krishna appeared there. Krishna, or one of his incarnations, appeared there. So that's one thing. And again, rivers are there. But one thing that is an important point to think about is that devotees are there. And they really bring the holy place to life. So what do I mean by that? That within every city, within every country, within every place of the world, there's certain people in a particular location, like Pacific Beach, for example. There's a certain mood produced here. I don't know if you call it exactly holy mood, but whatever. There's a certain mood produced here from the locals. So, for example, like in Pacific Beach, there's 5,000 bars and tattoo shops, right? And in Vrindavan, there's 5,000 temples, right? So there's a little different value system going on there. And yeah, again, what people do in the town, what are their values, what are they focusing on, what do they talk about, what type of music they listen to, what's their diet, what's their goal of life. This all really affects the place, the town, and you feel it. You go into a particular town, and there's a certain mood that's produced from the locals, just like Las Vegas, for example. I mean, there's a certain mood that's produced there. Or whatever, any other town. And people go there for certain reasons. So Vrindavan, for example, or Mayapur, it is one of the reasons it's very special is because the mood that's produced there from the devotees. There's so many, specifically I'm thinking of Vrindavan right now, but there's so many Vaishnavas there, Vaishnavis, they're all wearing nice tilak, and they all have their hands in their japa bags, and they're all walking around chanting. And, every night they visit the different temples where Krishna is. They go and see Krishna. And the whole town is just surcharged with Krishna consciousness. They just can't forget Krishna there. In Vrindavan, they're all very attached to and regularly chant Srimati Radharani's name, specifically Jai Radhe. The rickshaw drivers, they're nowadays a lot of motor rickshaw. They electric. Used to be 10 years ago everybody's riding bike, but now it's hard to find a bike rickshaw. But when they're going through the town, they just don't say, "Hey, move out of the way," or "honk, honk, honk," but they say Jai Radhe, and then they move like this. So they're chanting Srimati Radharani's name, the rickshaw drivers. So everybody, they know about Krishna. So it produces a particular atmosphere. And Krishna's there, of course. So So similarly, Srila Prabhupada, in relation to this verse we're talking about, says, "My Lord, devotees like your," this is in the purport, "devotees like your good self are very holy places personified. Because you carry Krishna within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage." So Srila Prabhupada, he understood that, okay, within India, within Bharatvarsha, there are many holy places, Vrindavan, Mayapur, and so on. But Srila Prabhupada, thinking in a very compassionate way and acting in a very compassionate way, Srila Prabhupada, he strived and he endeavored and he did establish tirthas all over the world, holy places all over the world. So this particular place we're in now, this temple, is a holy place. Why? Because Krishna has appeared. Krishna has appeared in the form of the deities. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, the deities have appeared, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari. And this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying here, or this is what's being said in the purport here. Because Krishna is absolute, any representation of him, whether manifested in stone, marble, such as a deity, paint, sound, the holy name, for example, or any other authorized medium, is non-different from his original form in the topmost spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan. So it's non-different. So the deity of Krishna, Radhagiri, non-different, the holy name, non-different. Means Krishna has appeared here, so therefore it is a holy place. And, of course, and we have Govardhan Hill here. We have a Shila, stone from Govardhan Hill. If you look to the left, to our left of Giridhari, Radha Giridhari in the middle, there's a Shila, Govardhan Shila. So this is the stone from the hill that Krishna lifted, which we'll be celebrating soon, within the next week or so. We'll be having a big celebration here, Govardhan Puja. So yeah, Krishna's here, Govardhan Hill is here, and so therefore this temple we are sitting in now, it has a particular name, New Govardhan. New Govardhan. So there's the original Govardhan in India, Vrindavan, original Govardhan, where Govardhan Hill is, and this is New Govardhan. So this is Srila Prabhupada's expert, genius, very interesting idea he had. He actually started this. He named the temples, different temples. He didn't name this particular temple as far as I understand, but he named Los Angeles New Dwarka. It's a holy place in India, Dwarka and New Dwarka. And Berkeley, New Jagannath Puri. What other ones? New Vrindavan, yes. New Vrindavan, West Virginia. Yeah, so he named different places, New Vrindavan, New Jagannath Puri, New Dwarka. Laguna Beach, I believe, is Panihati. It's another holy place. What is it? Yeah, Gita Nagari. And Srila Prabhupada, in New Vrindavan, for example, Srila Prabhupada had this idea. Within Vrindavan, original Vrindavan, India, there are 7 main temples, correct? It's 6. 6. 8. 7. Okay, 7, that's what I thought. Yeah. Moving your hand, yeah. Am I hallucinating yet? I've been having a hard time the last few days. I don't know why. When I went to India, I didn't have such a hard time adjusting to the schedule. But here, I'm not sure what's wrong with me. I think because all the travel made me tired or something. But so 7 main temples. So within New Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada had this idea that that the devotees would create 7 temples, just like there are 7 temples in Vrindavan, original Vrindavan, main temples of the Goswamis with their deities in them, Madan Mohan and Gopinath and so many other deities. So devotees have been working on that, and specifically in Govardhan Eco Village outside of Mumbai, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, he actually did that. He created these 7 replica temples on Govardhan Eco Village, the property in the countryside. So of course we may not have the room right now to create 7 temples here within Pacific Beach, although that would be quite amazing. But still, nonetheless, this is New Govardhan, a holy place. And this idea, if we look at one book by Sanatana Goswami, the Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, a very wonderful book by one of our prominent acharyas or spiritual teachers within our line. There's a whole wonderful book, but he describes how Krishna, 5,000 years ago, he leaves Vrindavan, he goes to Mathura, and then from Mathura he goes to Dwarka, and he's there in Dwarka. So Sanatana Goswami, he describes in this book how in Dwarka Krishna was feeling so much separation from devotees in Vrindavan, from Mother Yashoda, from Nanda Maharaj, mother and father, from the cowherd boys, from the gopis, from the whole atmosphere of Vrindavan. He was feeling so much separation, Krishna. So then what they did, interesting enough, is in Dwarka, they made a replica Vrindavan. And it's called New Vrindavan. And there was a replica Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and quite an interesting idea. The gopis and so on. So Srila Prabhupada, he knew about this. He read Sanatana Goswami's book. He said anybody who wants to know about Krishna and the process of devotional service should read this book. Very important book. It's 3 volumes. We have it translated by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. So if you haven't read it, you should read it. And if you have read it, you should read it again. And if you have read it before, if you've read it once, you should read it again twice, 3 times, on and on and on, because it's such a wonderful book. But still, again, holy places, in many ways, the atmosphere depends on the devotees. So we want, as many of us here are short-term, long-term, different years we've been members of this particular community, we want to help uplift the atmosphere and help people realize the sacredness of the space. And that really depends on our consciousness. So we also have to try for that. Can you tell me what time it is, please? What is it? 6:40. Okay. Usually. And this really all rests. So much of our spiritual realization rests on hearing. If we do not hear or read, what will we understand? It's very difficult to understand anything. The only reason people really understand anything, practically speaking, is because they've read something or heard something. Like, for example, if you could imagine, erase your memory right now, and then go to that picture right here above Devi Kinandan, or go to the picture go to that picture and look at that picture after you've erased your memory, and what will you know about that picture? It doesn't make any sense to you. You could speculate about it. You could, try to dream up something about what it is. You could, But until you ask somebody, until they tell you, an authorized person tells you, or you read an authorized book about the subject, you'll never know what it is. So hearing is important, and Srila Prabhupada said that these pictures are actually windows to the spiritual world. But of course, that's true, but of course, Srila Prabhupada, he always emphasized hearing, hearing, hearing. So if we hear about these pictures, for example, we'll have a clear concept of what the pictures are trying to convey. So hearing, really, it opens the doors to the spiritual world, opens the doors to love for Krishna, hearing about Krishna. And when we were traveling there, we went to Pune, and the reason we went to Pune, there's one devotee there. There's many devotees there, but there's one devotee. Her name is Madan Mohan Mohini, Devi Dasi, or Dasi. And she's my god sister. Means we have the same spiritual master, same spiritual teacher. And she is in her, I don't think she's more than 20. I think she's about 19. So somehow or other she heard that I was going to India, and somebody from SanDiego is there doing some like a student exchange program in Pune. So this person was connected with Madan Mohan Mohini, and this person was this devotee was telling Madan Mohan Mohini about me. And so then Madan Mohan Mohini, somehow she contacted me and she said, "Oh, I heard you're going to be in India. And I heard you're going to be in Mumbai," because we were just going to be there for a very short time, 3 days, and we're moving on. And she said, "I heard about you, and yeah, I'd like to meet you. So if you could please visit, I'd really appreciate it." And by the way, this god sister of mine, she has a disease, and the disease is, I forgot what it is exactly, but it's terminal, and with this disease, you don't have much time to live. Most people who have this disease, they actually leave their body or die at the age of 20 or 21. So she's 19. So, and she's there with her parents and her sister. So then I was thinking that, okay, I have to go see, because there's this idea that you can never, of course, within reason, but you can never deny the wish of a dying person. So I said, okay, I have to go. And many devotees know about her. She's very sincere. She's very serious. She's very dedicated. She's very Krishna conscious. So many devotees know about her throughout the world, and especially in India. So I told her, I said, okay, we're here we're in Mumbai for a short time, but we'll visit. So we hopped on a bus in Mumbai. It was not so bad. It was okay. Good bus, AC, air conditioner, and we were going there. It was about a 6-hour journey. Now the devotee who told us, he told us how long it was. He said it was going to be like 3 or 4 hours. Actually, it was like 6 hours, and we ended up leaving late, of course. So we got to Pune. It was like 1 in the morning. We were supposed to get there like at 9 or something, but. But anyways, when we were on the way there, we met this, on a side point, we met this nice Indian nice Indian young man, and we were talking to him for quite a while. He was asking very intelligent questions, philosophical questions about life, and so many things he was asking. So one thing he was bringing up, he's saying that, I said, because I had a book about Haridas Thakur. Those of you who know, those of you who don't, but one of our prominent teachers in this tradition, the Acharya, the teacher of the holy name, he used to chant so many rounds every day, and 192, and very prominent teacher within our tradition. So I had this book about Haridas Thakur, and somehow or other that was the only book I had to distribute to this person. So I asked him, I said, before I gave it to him, I said, "Do you like reading about saints?" And he said, "Yeah, but there's so much controversy about him sometimes. You know, I really, sometimes I shy away from it. I said, okay, so then we talked, and then at the end of the ride I said, here's a book about Haridas Thakur. And I said, this saint has no controversy, don't worry. You know, so I gave it to him. He was happy, nice guy. So we got to Pune, 1 a.m., and then because of her sickness, we couldn't meet, Mukund and myself, we couldn't meet her and her family the whole day. So we met in the night, around 7 p.m., and then the next morning we left. 6 a.m. in the morning, whatever. But while we met that night around 7, her father made an interesting comment. One of the first things he said was that, he said, tell us about devotees. He said, we like hearing more about devotees than Krishna. I was pretty surprised because I haven't heard many devotees say like that. But of course, there are comments, Prabhupada made statements like that actually. It's better to hear about Krishna, or devotees than Krishna. Of course, it's important to hear about Krishna too. So yeah, we talked for some time, about like 2 hours, and we're talking about Srila Prabhupada, and we're talking about our spiritual master, Tamal Krishna Goswami. We're talking about different devotees. And then at the end of the meeting, she was, I was really wanting to like give a gift to her, because I was thinking, oh, I should give a gift. But I didn't really have anything, so it was a problem. So then, but I did think of something. I carry this, Yudhishthira Prabhu gave me this cloth that when Srila Prabhupada was in India, 1977, in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada's disciples were reading the book scores to Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada wrote books, and then devotees distributed them throughout the whole world for the upliftment of humanity, for the educate people. So Prabhupada liked to hear the scores, how many books were going out. So while devotees were reading those scores, Prabhupada started to cry because he was so happy that so many books were going out. So devotees, they got a handkerchief, and then they wiped Prabhupada's tear with that handkerchief. So I got one of those from Yudhishthira Prabhu some time ago. So I carry that with me. And I thought, oh, I have that. So I told her, I said, oh, I have this cloth here. And do you have a pair of scissors? So we got some scissors, and we snipped a little piece off, and I gave it to her. She was very happy. And she gave me a gift of a picture of Tamal Krishna Goswami's small deities, Radha Damodar. So it was a nice gift she gave me. So yeah, she's a very sincere devotee. So yeah, again, with our travels, if we happen to travel to holy places, means Vrindavan or Mayapur, then we should take advantage or association of devotees there. And that is considered to be utilizing the time spent there properly, or in the most advantageous way. So similarly, if we don't go so often, or if we haven't been, when we come to the holy place here, SanDiego, New Govardhan, we should also try to associate with devotees, hearing and discussing and associating with and encouraging each other. And that is considered to be utilizing our time in the most advantageous way for our spiritual upliftment. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments? I'm sorry? You know? Something where the muscles... Dystrophy? Okay. Something where the muscles break down, and it's hard for her. She has very little energy, and sometimes it's difficult for her to even meet with people. Like within a few days, she could only have like one meeting because it's a lot of energy for her. And sound's very difficult. And even just to go to the temple, sometimes difficult. But she has many devotees visiting her, and yeah, she's quite fixed up. And devotees have this idea that, some devotees have this idea because she's very absorbed in Tamal Krishna Goswami, although she's initiated by His Holiness Giraj Swami. So devotees have, oh, everybody knows Madan Mohan Mohini was a disciple of Tamal Krishna Goswami in her last life, and in this life she's gone back to Godhead. So that's the idea devotees have about her. But yeah, she's very nice, nice devotee. Yes?
My question is, I'm a regular visitor to mainland China, and where do you have the temples in mainland China?
Okay, thank you. That's a good question. So you're a regular visitor to mainland China, and where do we have our temples in China? We don't. It is a communist country. And yeah, about nationalism, I was there, and we were going to some gathering with devotees, and we were driving, and I was just shocked, actually, because I've never been anywhere in the world where literally for miles upon miles, it was an hour-and-a-half drive, and to a place, it's Hong Kong, and then mainland China, Shenzhen, about an hour away, is the town Shenzhen, big city. But for literally like an hour and a half, upon, on the freeway, in the middle of the freeway, there were big poles, and on each side there were flags, the China flag of China. And I was just shocked. I was going, wow, I've never been anywhere in the world that they're really pushing, you know, hey, respect your country, love your country, worship your country, don't disrespect your country. If you do, you know, you have problems there, actually. Like in America, practically say anything. You could practically say anything at any time, anywhere, and no one's going to do anything, government-wise. You could criticize the president or whoever, or this person, that person, ad infinitum, and nothing will happen to you. There, you may have some problems, probably. Huh? In Hong Kong, we have a temple. It's close to the airport, about an hour. Afterwards, we could give you the address. I think it's in our books, in the back of the book. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, we don't have temples, but the idea and hope is that over time we will. So we could all pray for that. And there's many groups that are actually established there, like Christianity. They have churches there. Buddhism, Islam. So Muslims. So hopefully over time we have our temples there. Yes.
Go to the yoga studios and ask about Krishna meanings.
Yes. Go to the yoga studios and ask about Hare Krishna meetings. I mean, I do have a devotee's contact, depending on where you go in China. If you contact them, they could tell you, because we do have house programs within China, like devotees meet at their houses, and also devotees meet at yoga centers. So that is possible. We did meet at a yoga center there. And they had an altar with not with deities, but with pictures of deities, and there was kirtan there with mridanga and kartal. So it's not completely restricted. It's just restricted to a particular degree. Like you can't dress up like everybody's dressed up here, or whoever's dressed up in traditional, clothing. You can't do that within China, or put on tilak or anything like that. But you could meet more or less secretively, not causing too much disturbance. You had something, Vraj Mohan? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Okay, so does anyone have any other... yes?
It's more like asking for advice. I have a friend with this company. I have a friend in India, or an acquaintance, who is in prison there. He told me conditions are kind of hard because it's too crowded. Actually, he had not been, he had to wait for a long, long time before he can see the judge, even if he is innocent. But still, he had to wait. That person came to my mind because his condition sounds so different from a sacred place. Obviously, he doesn't have access to any, even if he is in India. How a person like that could be how close he can come to Krishna in a condition like that is basically the bottom line.
Yeah, so this difficult condition, obviously, that you're describing, that prison in India and crowded and having a hard time seeing the judge, even though he's innocent. It's a very difficult circumstance. Yeah, one of my family friends, they're also in prison. They're not in India, but they're in Oregon. And I sent them some books, biography about Prabhupada and other Prabhupada books. And honestly speaking, if he was outside of prison, he probably wouldn't have read them. Because, you know, he's a bit of a passionate guy. Means that he's just got tons of energy, and his mind's kind of all over the place, has a hard time focusing, drinks a lot of soda, eats a lot of candy, although he's like close to 30. But, you know, very good-hearted, very humorous, very nice person, but just, you know, a little kind of all over the place. So for him to sit down and read a book, that's difficult, very difficult. Although he probably needs it and it's good for him, but difficult, or to meditate or something. So I sent him these books, and yeah, he read them. He read them, and he said he liked them, and, you know, very inspired. And at the end of the letter, he wrote me, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And he said he watched something on the TV about Krishna and this and that. And so him going to prison, and of course he can't drink all the soda and eats all the candy he wants. It's, in some ways, of course, it's unfortunate for his family and for him because, you know, lack of freedom and difficult circumstances, but in many ways it's actually good, because from that he's actually becoming Krishna conscious, which hopefully when he gets out of prison he will continue. And he said he wants to visit, and by the way, what he did wasn't like, you know, super severe, or like, it was just it was like an add up of so many things, you know, parking tickets, speeding tickets, running from the police, taking the rap for his friend who had the drugs, but he doesn't take drugs, but he took the rap from his friend, you know, and then eventually this all added up and he got like 6 years in prison. So anyways, he said he may want to visit. So yeah, your friend, we have ISKCON prison ministry. It's also there in India. They go, they have kirtan, they hand out books, hand out prasadam, food offered to Krishna. So somehow or other, hopefully they could go visit him, or somehow or other you could get some books in there so he could read some books. Yes. All right, one last.
Hare Krishna, thank you. In regards to his question, His Grace Vaisheshika Das Prabhu, he in Arizona he gave, I believe, 2 or 3 prisoners initiations. Especially one is one cannot. His lifetime there, he cannot come out.
Yes.
But he got initiation, and Jadu Thakur Prabhu writes him a letter because they are allowed to receive a letter.
Yes.
So, and he got initiated, he got a name, new name, he reads the book regularly, and all the books, Prabhupada's books. So that's I think interesting, and there's a hope, and he's very happy, even though he's in a prison. He knows he cannot come out. So, but that's
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, devotees have correspondence with the prisoner sometimes. So it's good. All right, so Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.